How to play solo tabletop RPGs in 5 minutes or less. Things you need? First of all, obviously, you need a system. I would recommend getting a system that you know very, very well, and I would also recommend finding a system where the GM doesn't have to roll, because it gets really exhausting to roll for both sides of a conflict. That should be easy to house rule for games like Dungeons & Dragons, but it's not a necessity if you can't do it. First and foremost, get something you know. Secondly, you need something to take notes. It's really awkward to basically be having this grand story going on in just your head, so I like to sort of journal it. It doesn't have to be like paragraphs of well-written text. You could like bullet point it, like you're taking notes for a class, whatever. Thirdly, of course, your dice. Fourth, the Mythic Game Master emulator. The PDF costs about $8, and it's only a couple pages, so you could probably print it out yourself, or you can get the print version and support an amazing product. Most of what it does is keep track of character threads, answer yes or no questions, also answers complex questions, and just generally helps keep things moving. The last thing you're going to need is a bunch of fucking tables. I'm talking tables to generate NPCs, villages, quests, whatever stuff you want to encounter on your journey. You're going to want a table to generate it. Personally, I like to use, let me throw another thing on the bed because it's really fun, the Universal NPC emulator, which is used to generate, surprise, surprise, NPCs. And I like to use the tables from Ironsworn to generate literally everything else. And the best part about both of those is that they are 100% free. Links to both of those and everything I mentioned in this video in the description below.
Part 2. But how though?
The core principle of tabletop roleplay, in my opinion, is a little thing called justification. Think of it as, like, I guess doing tarot readings or whatever. Basically, like here is a perfect example, the event generator. What I like to do to start off more D&D quest-based games is to roll on this to generate a quest. So you roll D100, you get a 17, which is antagonize. So what do we need to antagonize? 78. We need to antagonize the masses. Ooh, that's a fun one. Maybe there's some sort of rebellion that needs quelling or whatever. If you're not sure, what I like to do is I also like to roll who is the person giving us this quest. A 93. A mindless what? 68. A mindless slave. So a mindless slave is asking us to antagonize the masses. So another thing that I would recommend is give yourself time to come up with stuff. Don't wait like 5 minutes and be like, oh, I can't come up with anything, I'm a failure. Take your time, sit down, give yourself like anywhere from 10 seconds to a minute to think of something. And more often than not, just say the first thing that pops into your head. Basically, this guy wants us to help incite a rebellion so that the slaves of wherever we are can be freed. Another thing I like to do is, if you don't like the results of the roll, just invert the numbers. So as you notice, that doesn't seem very mindless. So we'll say we got it from a 39 slave. A thoughtful slave, which is, funnily enough, the opposite of mindless. So it's a very intelligent slave being like, hey, inside a rebellion so we can be free. That sort of thing. You can also do the same thing to answer complex questions, like, why was this castle destroyed? 26, procrastinate. 85, technology. The castle staff weren't able to keep up with the repairs. Boom, see? I didn't even cut away for that. That was just instantaneous. Sometimes you get really easy stuff like that. Sometimes you get stuff that's hard to interpret. Again, you could just switch the numbers or re-roll. Whatever you want. It's your game. There's also this fate chart, which looks surprisingly daunting for something that answers yes or no questions. Honestly, you can just use the y-axis if you don't care about this chaos rank thing. So I'll ask, are there any orcs in this room? And I'll say if it's an orcish temple, that's likely. If it's an elven temple, that's unlikely. And then I roll and consult. That's a 46, so on a 50-50, that is a yes because it rolled under 50. If I rolled a 10 or under, that's an extreme yes, so basically yes and. And if I rolled a 91 or higher, that would be a no but. It's really fun, really good for practicing improv, and honestly, sometimes I still use this thing when I'm GMing for my friends. Okay, I don't actually know if that was 5 minutes or less. I just wanted to, like, have a really catchy title. Okay, bye. I do other videos.